You know, I don't really even know where to begin with this video, but I felt like today was such a powerful day that there's no way I couldn't share it. So, I don't know if any of you guys know me or my experience, but back in around June of last year in 2024, I was looking to buy a house, and around the same time God was telling me that in order for him to bless me, that I had to leave my job because I was selling alcohol. And that basically I was trying to find another job, you know, because I was trying to move to a rural area because I also knew that war was coming here. And so I was like, well, how the heck am I going to find a job if I don't know where I'm going to live? And so I was trying to find like rural jobs, but nothing was happening. And I was feeling more and more guilty every day. And God just basically said, I can't bless you unless you do this. And so I kind of just finally gave in, you know, because my mom died of an alcohol overdose about a year prior to this, and I had already wanted to leave, and I already felt really bad selling alcohol. Anyways, so I basically gave a 30-day notice to my boss. We were already in the process of looking at homes. And, but after that 30 days, I was going to put in 3 weeks vacation, so it would have given us almost 2 months. But obviously, when you buy a house, you have to have income, you know. Well, like literally at the last minute, almost my last day of getting the house, my last day at, you know, my job, we got the house. And I started doing things like driving jobs. And anyways, I had high hopes and on getting another job and all these things, but I won't go into the details. God has put on me that, you know, he wants me to follow his will, to find and seek his will. Long story short, it's now been 8 months. I had, you know, somewhere in August, I had found out about the rapture being on September 23rd and 24th. And I jumped on that bandwagon. Was not really I'm not saying I wasn't a rapture believer, but I thought it was at the end of the tribulation. And after somebody showed me the video about the rapture being September 23rd and 24th, I basically prayed about it, and I received confirmation about it twice. And then God was singing me wedding songs and adoption songs, and just he confirmed it, that it was him to me, that this was real. And so I didn't realize that it was an Exodus. And so every month there was like 2 or 3 watches from August, even still going in January. And you know, it kept me going. You know, I'm kind of glad that I wasn't told that it was going to be, which now I kind of believe it's closer to Easter. If you go and find one of my videos about war, you'll see there's one that shows an Easter pamphlet. And so I think this invasion and rapture will probably be the week or close to Easter. So I think the Exodus will continue on. However, I am watching January 22nd through 24th and February 22nd through 24th, just because other people have gotten, you know, some messages there. So I'm kind of watching those days. But anyways, going 8 months without a job and relying on my husband's disability, which is not very much, and him not really being much of a believer, and also kind of a very negative person. Like, it doesn't think very positive. I don't have a clue how. I mean, it's really taken a toll on our marriage, but somehow God has been holding us together. I have been trying to be as obedient as I can. He's been working on me submitting to my husband, which has helped. But it's really kind of, I don't really want to get into all that. That'll be another video. But you don't realize how hard it is until you're put to the test. We all sit here and say that, look at what they went through in the Exodus, and they were given the manna every day, and that they still didn't trust, and they were seeing the miracles. I've only been going through this for like 8 months, and let me tell you, can you imagine doing this for 40 years and not losing your faith? I mean, it's been absolutely like the pressure of keeping the faith every single day has been overwhelming, and every month, we were short, and somehow he came through, and I had to also still be obedient. I have a neighbor who has needs, and he wanted me to still continue to give, and just follow the 10 Commandments, follow him, trust him, and anyways, so for some reason this month in January, my rent went up $230, but so did 2 other bills, because we had some credits like on our electric and something else, and those credits went away because we used them, and so we were short about $430 on our bills. And I knew, because I had been applying for help for the last 3 or 4 months on a bunch of different things, and I knew something was going to come through, but it's the pressure of the day after day after day of trying to keep the faith. And anyways, I knew that this week was going to be a breaking point for me. I could just tell I was getting emotional. I was having a hard time, like, just dealing with it. And so anyways, I basically today I said, because it's the 18th, and I basically said, I asked God to relieve the pressure today. I said, I can't, just please release the pressure today. I can't take it anymore. And anyway, so today was church. I don't really go to the Sunday church. I'm our Saturday church. However, I live in a rural area, and there is no Seventh-day Adventist church here. So anyways, but I go to the Sunday church, and anyways, the pastor was talking about he basically put 2 $5 bills on the counter, and he said, hey, if any of you guys want this, you can come get it. And I wasn't even paying really attention. I didn't hear at the time. So 2 people went up there and grabbed the $5 bills. And he said, oftentimes, people will not accept Jesus' free gift. And because they think that it's just too good to be true. And I was thinking about my situation. And anyway, so I kind of logged that away and thought about it. It didn't really mean much to me at the time, until later. I later checked the mail, and which we all know that's a scary thing. But anyways, I checked the mail, And the first thing I got was from our my husband's disability. We had applied for them to pay for his Medicare, which would cover about $200 a month. But they had told me that it would take like 3 months to get it. And and I knew that we'd probably get back pay, but 3 months down the road, all I know is where we'd be, and $200 wasn't even what we needed. We needed 400, almost 450. And so I saw on there, so I got a letter saying that we had just applied for that. Like, I mean, it took us almost 3 months to get it, but it was saying once we were approved, we had to wait another 3 months or whatever. And so anyways, I was not expecting it this month, but I was hoping that I would get it this month, by the end of the month, because we needed it now. And so anyways, the letter was saying that it was telling us that we were going to get the money for December. They were offering us $232 for December and $202 for January, and we would have it by the end of the month. And so all I saw after that was I kind of brushed over that because I knew this was coming anyways. And all I saw was, oh, but we're changing your payment date to the 3rd. And were originally getting our money on the 28th. And I was going to use that to cover the part that we were short. And so all I saw was that. And I just started that we weren't going to be able to pay our rent on time because it's due on the 1st. And we weren't going to get our money until the 3rd. That's all I saw when I read the letter. And I just literally just broke down, started crying, flipping out. I don't know. I lost it. I knew I was going to lose it this week. And I didn't even really see what God had done at the time. And then I later went through all the mail, and there was a few other things that weren't really very good. And so I didn't really feel any relief right away. But then once I calmed down and I re-looked at everything, I realized that the mortgage people will allow you to be up to 15 days late. And so we weren't going to be charged a late fee for that. And so that was a relief. And then I calculated it, and $202 plus $232 was $434. God provided exactly what we were short. I was only expecting to get $200 this month to kind of help. I was not expecting God to pay it all. And I don't have enough for next month, but I do have other things in line for help. And so I know that those will probably come through too in time. But you can tell when it's God, because it's exactly what I needed. He didn't give me at $4 more than what I needed, but you can tell when it's God. Not only that, but I asked him today to relieve the pressure, because I couldn't take it anymore. And even though I lost my faith, he still provided, and he was still there for me. And after that, I was typing this testimony, because all of these things that God does for us is ultimately a testimony. It's to show his glory and to share it with others. So I was telling my niece, who is also going through a hard time right now, and so that maybe it would help her feel better. And anyways, right after I was done typing to her, I accidentally swiped my hand across the phone, and when I did, I basically typed 9-10 by accident. And I just knew when I saw it that it had to be a scripture. God must have did it, because how the heck can you accidentally type 9-10? I mean, the dash, everything. So I Googled it and I said, okay, well, what are the scriptures of 9-10? And then Psalms 9:10 came up, and I don't have this fully memorized, and I can't go back to read it fully to you, so I suggest you look it up, but I'm going to tell you basically what it was. And it basically is about those who trust in the Lord and are seeking Him and trusting Him. He will not forsake them. And if that couldn't have gone with my story today, I don't know what could have. And, I know that we have a couple more months to go. I know this war's coming here. But I guess my encouragement to you other Rapture watchers, to just hold on. If God's putting you through the test right now, it's for a reason. And to just trust Him. If He has pulled you out of Egypt, which He has told me, that He has pulled me out of Egypt. He says, do not go back to Egypt. I've saved you from Egypt. And He has told me, if you go back, it's, you could be turned into a pillar of salt. Basically, I could lose being raptured. And I have prayed multiple times about different jobs and scenarios and things I could do to earn money, and He has not once given me confirmation on a move forward, and I refuse. I refuse to put another foot forward until I know it's from Him. Because the last time I started to, because in January I was going to start looking for a job, I was just like, well, I'm just going to take a step in faith, and I'm going to try to figure out whatever it is He wants. Because, of course, to me, He's taking too long. I mean, 8 months, I never in a million years would have thought that I would make it this far without a job. But anyway, so I was about to go gung-ho searching for a job and trying to figure out what His will was. And then he stopped me in my tracks that day, and he showed me a post like on Facebook and said, don't ask me to bless what you've already planned. Instead, seek my will. And so I've been praying and praying about every little opportunity that comes my way to know if it was from Him or not. Because I was worried. I was like, well, how am I supposed to know that it's from you if because I feel like the person, who was drowning, and somebody, he says, no, I'm waiting for God to save me. And he says, well, and 3 boats come by, and he says, no, I'm waiting for God to save me. And he's like, in the end, he drowned, and then he asked God, well, why didn't you save me? And God said, well, I sent you 3 boats. Why didn't you get on the boat? And I didn't want to be like that. I said to God, I'm like, well, how do I know that I'm not going to miss the opportunity? Because gobs of opportunities have passed me by, and I didn't, because I didn't hear from you, I didn't accept it. And he promised me that I would not miss the message or knowing, or He would tell me. And so I had comfort with that. However, when you're short on your bills every month, and you have the pressure and the fighting in your home, and just trying to keep the faith day after day after day after day, it's hard. And so I just want to encourage, if any of you guys are going through it, or God's putting you through the test or whatever, to stay encouraged that we're almost there. We're almost to the promised land. And He hasn't left us. He hasn't forsaken us. Even if you can't hear Him, like, I feel like I haven't heard God voice in a long time. Like I was hearing His voice in my head on a daily basis, and it was getting to the point where I just wasn't hearing Him, And I was like, have I done something wrong? Have He left me? I don't really know. But today He really showed me that He doesn't leave those who trust in Him. He's not going to leave you. He's there. He's with you, and through everything. And He might be quiet because you're going through a test, but even if you fail, and believe me, I went through days of unforgiveness, hate, through all of this in this 8 months. Like, I had to repent daily because my attitude, it's been hard. And but one of the things that God has been reminding me, is that, like, He's showing me what they went through in the wilderness, and what I'm going through. I'm in a beautiful house that I I don't even know why God bothered to give me a beautiful house if the rapture's coming. Like, why did he even, what was, I mean, he just wants to bless his children. And then I was thinking, about Abraham and how Abraham went to go sacrifice Isaac, and how he had to trust God, and he didn't know if he was going to end up killing his son, and he thought he was, but he didn't know if God was going to come through for him or what. And how I haven't had to go through anything like that, and for me to sit here and be like a crybaby over all this, it's just, that's what's great about the stories in the Bible, is there's people who've gone through way worse things than what we're going through. And then I thought about God sacrificing his son. Oh my God, it's just, we don't realize how good we have it. And I'm so grateful for the people in the Bible, the stories and the testimonies, and, and the fact that I have you guys, because I definitely would say the body of Christ online has really kept me going day after day. And I just want to say thank you to you all. And I hope that I have helped one of you guys feel a little better about tomorrow, because God has provided for me 8 months when every month we didn't have enough. And we're still here, I haven't lost anything. And anyways, keep the faith, keep going. We're almost there. Do not give up now. And if you're feeling too much pressure like me, like I did today, just tell him, please, God, relieve the pressure, because I can't. When it's too much, just instead of blowing up or getting mad at him or taking it out on your spouse, whoever, give it to God. Say, God, please remove this pressure. I cannot. I mean, he could have waited till the end of the month. I mean, the 18th is pretty close to the end of the month, but there's 15 days left. He could have waited, and he has before waited till the very, very last day to come through. But because I asked today, he released the pressure today. And I'm telling you, because we know ourselves, and we know when we can't go any farther or we're going to lose it. And so it's important to tell him. But anyways, I just hope this blesses you guys, and I love you all, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.